Hello and welcome to the live stream. We'll get that off there because that doesn't need to be there. I'm just saying to people that I am going live. Yeah. Nothing out of the ordinary out of that. How are people doing? I hope you're with me. There's Crash, so we do have confirmation that people are seeing me and Michael's Magic. New version of Dragon Master Outcast in white. Yes, I saw that. I see an Ixalan card, the good old days of Ixalan. Yeah, I guess I better scroll down to the new cards. That's where we're at, is the new cards, and I want to do it in order, not from the latest to the last. We want to do the last to the latest, right? So I'm going to simply do this as a live stream. I was thinking I was going to do This Week in Magic as a separate from the spoilers, but I'm not. I just press for time, and I don't have the time to edit it and do this and do that. It's plain and simple how it's going to be. I'm going to go through the spoilers here first, and then we're going to discuss about the bans from the racist bans of the Magic cards. It's plain and simple. That's the way we're going. And then I'm going to finish it off with a newly updated version of the player details. So just to lay this out for everyone, it's a lot easier if I do it this way than having to do this, do another video, do that. I just don't have the current time between this, my kid, and everything else. So we have a brand new showcase swamp. I love the look of the swamp. I hate the art. This art to me looks like a tar sand. I don't see this being a swamp. I see this more of a void of being a swamp. Swamp is like, it's not that. You have a minute to acknowledge my Canadian privilege, Shirley. Of course. Me being Canadian, I don't have to worry about what you guys are dealing with there in the States with these protests and everything like that. I guess Crash, being from the UK, he's got totally other problems. Yeah, all my maple syrup, it's all mine. It's all mine. You know, and I'm wearing my PEI dirt shirt. If you guys don't know the story about these shirts, in Prince Edward Island, they have, like, red sand, and if you go in around the area, your skin will even dye from the sand. And that's all they've done with these shirts, is they've put them in water with the sand, and it dyes the shirt, like, permanently. It's pretty crazy. Toppling statue, oh god. So we have Liliana Stewart. For 1 black, we have a 1/2 zombie. Tap it, sacrifice it. Target opponent discards a card. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. On the surface, this is great, but we have Luris, so this makes it absolutely bonkers. All hail the Queen of Britannia. Oh boy. Liliana's Playboy. Yeah, he's a classy-looking zombie, that's for sure. This kind of reminds me of Skullboy, if you guys don't know who that is. He actually committed suicide. If you didn't know, he was the guy that was actually in Lady Gaga's video, I believe, Born This Way. It really sucks he actually took his own, but at least he's still being remembered in that sense because he did do some things to change perspectives in the world. Liliana's Devotee, 1 black, 2 generic, 2/3 human warlock. Zombies you control get +1/+0. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may play 1 black and 1 generic. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. That's pretty neat. It would be great. I don't know if Zombie Tribal's gonna make it come back, so Zombie Tribal maybe in a couple secs after rotation, we might have a thing. But right now, yeah. Oh, Crash, you're funny. Liliana's Standard Bearer. I don't know if this is a knock on Standard, because the Standard Bearer? Like, why would you... I don't understand it. I know he's holding up a flag. Wouldn't it just be a flag bearer, not a standard bearer? I don't know. Anyway, it's a 1 black, 2 generic zombie knight, so you got knights and zombies. It's a 3/1 rare with flash. Now, this thing having flash, I don't think he's moving that fast because that's a skeletal horse. Like, that horse is undead. Almost a nightmarish. When Liliana's standard bearer enters the battlefield, draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures that died under your control this turn. It's a great effect after a board wipe, but it doesn't exactly fit the flavor of the card. I just gotta throw that in there. Listen, that bearer is telling you about Liliana's standard. Spoilers. She is high standards. High maintenance Liliana. That's funny. Tutelarian Kraken. I saw this card. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. 2 blue and 4 generic. It's overcosted. So this is literally draft shaft. It's a 4/6 Kraken. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. When you do, tap or untap target creature. This, maybe it goes in with Garuda because it is even, and like Michael's Magic is saying, it is a combo piece. So it may go in with Garuda to try and get it out onto the field through the free casting method that he provides. Then we got the Bash Taunter. 1 red, 4 generic, 1/1 indestructible goblin. Well, thank God he's indestructible. For 5 mana, getting a 1/1 is absolutely ridiculous. Whenever Bash Taunter is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. For 1 red and 2 generic, tap it and it fights another creature. So, yeah, nothing stays on the board right now. 1/1 indestructible. There's also Shadow Spear that gets rid of the indestructible. I don't know if this thing's going to do much. It's just way overcosted. I think it's too expensive for this to do anything. Stuffy Doll, yep. Hey, Hester. Going in your Boys Don't Die deck, Vinyl? Nice. Yeah, it's a red goblin. It's kind of weird. He just doesn't die. It would have been better if he was named Squee, because then he just doesn't go away. Watcher of the Spheres. 1 blue, 1 white, 2/2 bird wizard. Well, it's already flying, and it's a 2/2, so it's already ahead of the curve as a bear. Creatures spells with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. While getting a discount on casting flyers, that's kind of nuts. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, Watcher of the Spheres gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Temporary boost. Because it's a temporary boost and he's a discount, we'll see where this lands. I don't know. It would be nice to see more of the Azorius Flyers, I guess, but they don't last right now. Dude, it should have been Squee. It should have been. Falconer Adept, 1 white, 3 generic, 2/3 human soldier. Whenever Falconer Adept attacks, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. Now, they've done these sort of things in the past, and a Falconer Adept normally won't have more than 1. So it's kind of interesting that the bird sticks around. I guess it's because it's not a legendary creature. It's not a rare like they've had in the past. I think it was a red card where when you attacked, it created the monkey, and then the monkey left at the end of turn. So Dream Trawler has flying, and it's blue-white, I guess. So if you do Watcher, and then Dream Trawler on turn 4 instead of turn 6, that is a possibility. We got Canopy Stalker. I'm really unimpressed because this does not have flash. Any kitty cat that's sitting up in a tree ready to pounce and is named a stalker honestly should have flash. Plain and simple. That's the definition of flash if you go back and look at King Cheetah when flash was first came out. This is a 1 green, 3 generic creature cat. Can't be blocked if able, or must be blocked if able. If it dies, you gain 1 life for each creature that died this turn. And it's a 4/2. Oh boy, we're going to hear lots of that today, aren't we? Kiravin the Spiteful? Jeez. What kind of name is that? That's not normal. 2 black, 2 generic, 3/2, human warlock, legendary creature. Other creatures get -1/-1. This is across the board. Yeah, across the board, lowering of creatures. This is going to put tokens down and going to destroy any mana dork deck. Gonna punish mono red. Yep. Yeah, that thing, it's not creatures you don't control, it's all other creatures. So it also hits your side of the board. This may enable a mid-range to actually come up and do something more. Yeah, apparently... oh, crash. Namabi, a Steam Speaker. 1 blue, 1 white, 2/1 human cleric, legendary creature because it's named. Has flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may return another target creature you control to owner's hand. If you do, gain life to of that creature's converted mana cost. For 1 blue, 1 white, and 1 generic, tap it, discard a legendary card, draw 2 cards. We do have the 3-color legendary enabler, so this might be something that goes in that because this is legendary. We may have a 4-color legendary return loop deck that may surface just because of this one card. With that discard and being able to cast from your graveyard and everything like that. I don't know if he's rotating. I can't remember which set he's from. I don't think he was from Throne. I think he was from Ravnica and stuff like that. So it'll be a very short-lived deck if that's the case. Battle Rattle Shaman. This is an old school reprint. 2/2, 1 red, 3 generic for a Goblin Shaman. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature get +2/+0 until end of turn. Then we have Unsubstantiate. It's 1 blue, 1 generic. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. What? 2 blue, 2 to return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. This also works against anything that is this cannot be countered. So, Unsubstantiate, it doesn't counter it outright, it just returns them. I believe this is a reprint, so it's going to be interesting what that does. Then we got Glorious Anthem. 2 white, 1 generic, enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. This is pretty much an updated Crusade, but we'll get into that later. Discontinuality. 3 blue, 3 generic. As long as it's your turn, the spell costs 2 and 2 blue less to cast, and this literally just ends the turn at mythic rarity instant. Play that in Wilderness Reclamation. Yeah, I guess. Like if you play this at the start of your opponent's turn for 6, they skip their turn, but you got to get to 6 mana. This is going to probably enable something horrible in the future. We'll see what happens with that. I guess you can play this as a response to the Boros card, where it gives you another turn. If you just end the turn, then you don't lose the game at the end of that effect. I believe that's how that works. It's hard to say. I'd have to double check into that. Yeah, it's going to create some sort of degenerate combo. That you're right. Or it ends your turn early. Yep. Then we got Finishing Blow. 1 black, 4 generic. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. This literally is just for draft. It should have been exile target creature or planeswalker, in all honesty. Terror of the Peaks. I like myself a big, nasty dragon, and this is one of them. 2 red, 3 generic, 5/4 dragon with flying. When an opponent casts a spell that targets him, they must pay an additional 3 life for that cast. And then whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So now your cat oven is going to create pinging effects when the cat comes in, on top of draining your life, on top of you sacking creatures. It's just going to enable a sack outlet even worse, especially when it's reoccurring to the battlefield. They gotta ban that oven. They really gotta ban the oven. We have enough sack outlets without the oven, so just get rid of the oven. Silver's Moat Ghoul. 1 black, 2 generic, 3/1 zombie vampire. A vampire became uber undead and has also become a zombie. How does that happen? A zombie and a vampire. Most zombies are not free-willed, where vampires are. I don't know how you cross the two in a fantasy lore setting. I would love to know how this one worked. How does a vampire become more undead? At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return Silver Moat Ghoul from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You can pay 1 black, 1 generic, sacrifice Silver Moat Ghoul, draw a card. Zombie X Vampire, yeah. Griffin Airy, 1 white, 1 generic enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white griffin creature token with flying. This is absolutely bonkers for an enchantment at uncommon. Anytime you gain 3 or more life, which is not hard to do, that's absolutely crazy. It becomes a lich. In D&D, a lich is the ultimate of undead. You know what, Grim? You're probably right on that, because a lich is more than just a vampire or a zombie or a skeleton or anything like that. I don't know how you can cross the two properly when it comes down to it. Yeah, the Griffin Airy, that's going to be a gigantic card. Mono white enchantments might become a thing. Speaker of the Heavens, 1 white, 1/1 human cleric. For 1 white, you have Vigilance and Lifelink. Come on. This is getting a little bit ridiculous on how far a 1 mana gets you right now. Then you can tap them and create a 4/4 white angel token with flying. Activate this ability only if you gained at least 7 life, more than your starting life total, and only at the one you can do a sorcery. Like, he's got Vigilance, so he can attack, he can gain life. I don't know. And, you know, I mentioned this to someone earlier today. There's something going on with this set, because I'm seeing a lot of the women in the set are front and center, huge, but the male, either they're shirtless or they're so far away or so covered up, you can't even tell what's going on. I'm kind of confused on how the artwork is working in this set. It's kind of strange to me, and I only noticed that because of what I've done with my my thumbnails, right? And like Speaker of the Heavens, I can't work with that. I can't do anything with that. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. To me, it's kind of odd that a lot of the humans, if they're women, they're front and center and being bold. You've got the human warlock here, which is great, but you don't see me swapping my head on that. I won't be. Not in the current climate of things. There's no way. I did it on here on the Liliana's Devotee, but then he's open bare-chested. What is going on? It's like Oka all over again. Anyway, that's just a small offhand thing. Then we have Animal Sanctuary. For a rare land, it taps for generic. And it's, or colorless, whatever you want to call it. For 2 and tap it, put a 1/1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. No owners allowed. Sanctuary sign. Interesting. Yeah, no unicorns allowed. It's the dark age of art. Andre is... That land is going to be interesting. It's going to enable a tribal deck for cats and birds and dogs and goats. I don't know. This is going to go into a zoo deck. You know that. Homeward Bound. Library Larcenous. 1 blue, 2 generic. Whenever Library Larcenous attacks, draw a card. Draw a card. Not even loot. Just draw a card. This thing is going to be inherently busted. Oh, it just attacks and draw a card. Thank God it's a 1/2. And it's a common. This thing's going to be huge. It doesn't have to hit you. It just has to attack. Most of the cards we've seen like this are literally they have to do damage. Rousing Reed, 1 blue, 2 generic, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 1. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. Thank God it doesn't have flash, because that would make this thing even worse. Yeah, it's an ultimate looter. You just draw a card. There's no discard, there's no downside. You just attack and draw a card. Attack and draw a card. Like, you get 2 or 3 out of that, and this thing is you're gonna run away a game just with this card alone. Then we have a reprint of the Colossal Dreadmaw, 2 green, 4 generic, big old 6/6 trample dinosaur. Nothing huge out of that. This thing is a closer in limited play because it is a 6/6 with chant and trample. This is something to keep an eye on, mainly for limited, not so much for other formats. We'll just refresh that. We got no more new spoilers there. I'll just do a quick peruse of the interwebs to see if there's any more that came out. There probably isn't, but we will see. No. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So, this is, at this mark, 22 minutes and 30 seconds is the end of the spoilers, and we're going to get into the other stuff that is going on. As everyone knows, there was some stuff that went down with Wizards of the Coast this week. I haven't covered it because I haven't known how to approach it directly and in such a way that is friendly for YouTube, more or less. So, what has happened? We have... oh, God. Yeah, that's something I want to see out of the RCMP. Global News is one of the main organizations for news in Canada, and they are around the world. They used to be known as ITV and stuff like that. If you're over in the UK, I believe that ITV still exists under that banner. They've actually covered the story, so this story is starting to hit mainstream. It's not just seeing Polygon, Kotaku, or anything else. It's not just the few YouTubers covering it, like Sargon, Tim Pool, and everyone like that. This is really starting to blow up, and I think it's kind of crazy, and mainly because of the world events that we're dealing with right now. Any story that deals with bannings of imagery that people believe is racist is blowing up in the world, and people are just running too far with it. And in all honesty, if this is the way that you're seeing the world, I think internally we all need to look at ourselves and go, no, I'm not going to do that. I need to stop looking at it that way. If you look at it that way. If you don't, great. It's exactly the part. It's where does it end? It's just going to continue. This is like a modern day book burning. We've already seen Amazon removing books based around other things. We have Ethan Van Sciver that actually used to do stuff for Green Lantern Corps, put out a mock thing that was out of direction of DC, that was a mock take on World War II's Mon Kampf and all this other stuff, and they took it to the color yellow with fear and everything like that, and tried to mirror that universe, and still trying to show how it is an evil that is in the world in that fantasy type of setting. Magic the Gathering is no different. With Magic the Gathering, they had cards in the past when the game was first created that really reflected on stuff that has happened in the worldview as real life. And throughout Magic's history, they have always kind of gone slightly with the streamline, always trying to do stuff that reflects the way the world is. And so back when it was first created, when they were trying to draw stuff, there was cards that they saw were inherently the depiction of evil. And that's why these cards originally were made. Are they racist? They're evil. That's part of Magic's lore. I don't think you can get away from that type of thing in a fantasy setting. You are trying to tell a story, you need a protagonist, and part of it is showing the evils of the world and defeating the evils of the world and moving on from it. And I think that's where everything has gone awry. So Magic the Gathering bans racist cards from the game. And they're showing the new set. This is now starting to feel like it's a PR stunt. That it's gone mainstream. And everyone's like, oh, look at them. You got to remember, most of the world doesn't actually play Magic the Gathering. And this type of thing may bring in more players saying, oh, they're getting rid of this type of thing. So now it's a lot more friendly family of a game. But there is a deep-rooted history of this type of thing. Popular behind the popular Magic the Gathering card game says it has removed several cards with racist artwork and depictions from its lineup in response to a growing outcry of systematic racism in the United States and around the world. Wizards of the Coast announced Wednesday that it'd be pulling cards from its Magic library and banning them from popular fantasy-themed role-playing game. Fantasy-themed role-playing game. The company also publishes Dungeons & Dragons and another fantasy-themed RPG. Recently, we had a Dungeons & Dragons thing come up about how orcs were depicted as racism. And orcs, being a fantasy creature, originally were created, I believe, back with Lord of the Rings, with Tolkien, and it actually was from World War, and how they were fighting the evil of the war, and how the orcs were technically the evil of the world. Now, if you look at that type of thing, you've always had elves, and now this. Also in Dungeons & Dragons, we still have the elves, we have the drow, and the drow, once again, are depicted as the evil in the world, but they live underground where, in all purposes, if you're away from Melitona, you should have the opposite effect, but they put them in there to be able to hide in shadows, and that was part of it. It was never part of them being evil. It was because it was one of their traits in Dungeons & Dragons. Wizards was felt compelled to significantly address a Magic card called Invoke Prejudice, which features artwork of black, pointy-hooded figures that closely resemble members of the KKK. The card was first released in 1994 and granted players the ability to stop an opponent from casting a spell on the color of certain creatures within the game. This is racist, Wizards said in a statement, adding it should never have been published. I don't think that Wizards of the Coast was looking at this back at 94 saying this card should never have been published. They weren't looking at it at that lens. I think back then they used to name these cards. They would do all the printings for the cards and then hand the cards to artists, and the artists would draw based on the name of the card. They handed this card off to an artist that is known for drawing Nazism and imageries of World War II. What do you think was going to happen? I don't think they vetted the artist. I don't think that is something that's going to happen. And back in the fledgling days of Magic the Gathering, they took what they got. They didn't have to sit there and try and say, oh, we need to show this as a racist card. It was never done that way. They went, this is the person that we have drawing for us. We're going to take it or leave it. And they wanted to get the stuff printed out. So I believe there was a certain level of draw something, we'll put it on there. In all purposes, they could have drawn a sexual image, which we have seen sort of, and put it on the card, and it would have been the exact same thing. If you look back at the history of Magic the Gathering, we have Unholy Strength. Unholy Strength was one of the things, one of the cards back in the day where churchgoers, and there was a full, lockdown and seeing that magic was evil to people that were highly Catholic and highly religious, and there was an outcry back in the day for them to remove the card. Instead of them removing the card, they changed the art. The difference is, we're looking at 25 plus years later, you cannot turn around and just change the art of this card. It's on a reserve list, it's on a list where they will never print it again, and it's just that. Now, they say there's no place for racism in our game, nor anywhere else, the company said. It also apologized for creating the card in the first place. We should be better, should have been better, we can be better, and we will be better. Honestly, that's a PR statement we've seen time and time and time again when there's a controversy that shows up with Wizards of the Coast. The publisher also committed to removing several other racist or culturally offensive cards from its lineup, including cards called Crusade and Jihad, which granted bonuses to white creatures, they've got to put this in the story, and Cleanse, which destroyed black creatures. Because that's what the media is showing now, it's white versus black, when that's not the case. It also said it would remove the cards along with Imprison and Paradesh Gypsies, which appear to reference India. I'm very confused by that from this reporter at Global News, along with Stone Throwing Devils, and he doesn't list anything with that. And you can see all the cards here. We have Cleanse, Crusade, Jihad, Paradise Gypsies, Stone Throwing Devils, and In Prison. In all honesty, if you are playing Magic the Gathering and you have been entrenched in this game since 93, 94, like myself, this is not what you see it as. This was, okay, cool, this grants all my white creatures on my side of all white creatures, this was a global effect, +1/+1. It had nothing to do with the color of white or black of mana. This is to do with a card game and not with real world events. Crusade was an event that happened. A Jihad was a type of event that did happen. And Cleanse is, I don't even know where it's from because I'm not religious or anything of the sort. It was something that I just... there's apparently some religious thing behind Cleanse. I don't even really know what it is. In Prison, I don't even know what it is. It just looks like a twisted up mess of a person. We have Stone Throwing Devils. I really don't know what that is. And Gypsies maybe is another one, because apparently it's a slang term from Ireland. I don't even really know myself. In all honesty, I believe them banning these cards have brought down a lot more problems with this type of rhetoric. You can sit there and look at any Magic card right now, and if you want to see racism in it, you will see it in there. The whole game in itself is not built on that. The game was built on a 5-color system, and the 5 colors fight each other. If that is in itself, you're saying those 5 colors fighting each other is now racist, then the game is over. We're done. There is no more to this game. The affected cards have been replaced on Wizards' website with a simple statement: we have removed this card image from our database due to a racist depiction, text, or combination thereof. Racism in any form is unacceptable and has no place in our games, nor anywhere. Well, I guess the game's over because I can't have a racist red creature fight a racist green creature. Plain and simple. Wizards of the Coast says it has banned all the affected cards from its sanctioned tournaments. We are starting to review every card we printed, Wizards added on Twitter. The first pass isn't meant to be an exhaustive catalog of every problematic card in Magic's history, and will continue to take actions on similar cards in the future. So, there has been a gigantic outcry saying this card's racist, this card's racist, this card's racist from the community, and this is not how you deal with it. Continuing to ban cards that one person deems racist to another is not the answer. It's just going to create more problems. You need to preserve this type of thing and say, listen, this is something we did in the past. We're not doing that anymore. We're moving forward with this. But if you're going to sit there and say that all these cards are racist, then you've got to remove any sort of color from the game, because one color card is going to be racist to another one. It's plain and simple. That's how Magic the Gathering works. That's Magic the Gathering as a whole, and it's absolutely insane that it has gone this far. Now, with Evoke Prejudice, I think there is a specialty case with this card. There was someone that was that knew what they were doing when they made that art. Then also again when they added it to the Gatherer, because there's more to that card. They gave it a number that is a symbolization of something from World War II Nazism, and because of that, someone was inherently knowing how bad that card was, and for them to put that in there and sit there lying in wait for this day to happen, they're laughing right now. They are laughing at the entire world of Magic the Gathering and completely laughing at all of us right now because they put it in there at that, and they're watching the outcome of this happening. So this is the statement: depictions of racism in Magic. They've got the 7 cards. Just backing up the news story, I thought it was a little bit better to show this from the mainstream reporting on this. There's not much more I can go with that. If you guys want a breakdown of the cards, there has been Merfolk Magic on Twitter has a very long overdue descriptions of why each card was removed, I believe from their point of view. I don't know the whole details. This is something we could continue to go over, but it's not something that I really care about. I don't think these cards should be taken away because, in all purposes, they're Magic cards. They're not real world effects, and I think it's something that should have never happened in the first place. This is going a little too far, and this is creating another scenario where we're just going to burn books and not learn from the mistakes of the past. They don't do this anymore. They don't do this type of thing in the game anymore. Yeah, fine. I'll concede Invoke Prejudice, but banning the others is utterly absurd. Yeah, like the only way this continues, they're going to continue banning cards, and at that point, then we're going to have no legacy tournaments. Vintage tournaments are done as well. You might as well just play at the level of the game at your kitchen table at that point with all these cards, because the game is over if that's the case. And the game is strong. It's not going to end just on that. But if they want to sit there and continue banning cards, they're going to have to ban pretty much the entire game. Okay, so new details came out for the player experience. The reimagining of the new player experience from start to finish. This is out of the WPN. This came out a couple days ago. We're just going to move past all that other stuff, and yeah. Yeah, it's for attention. It needs to stop. It's bad. It's a PR. It's now turning into a PR stunt because everyone is covering it, and it's hit mainstream media, and mainstream media is saying, "Oh, good on you," and all this other stuff. And this whole systematic racism that everyone's saying is alive and well. I don't see it. No. It's not alive and well. It's been squashed for years. And the people that are sitting there saying, this needs to change, and we need to give special rules to a special sect of people, that in itself is discrimination. Everyone's protected under the human rights of Canada, in particular, where you're not allowed to do this for certain people. And now they're saying we're going to give funds for more people of a certain ethnicity to gain employment in the workplace. We all see it. I see it. I'm literally completely mixed heritage, and it just drives me absolutely insane to see all this. Joe, I'm technically not a white male. If I went through my heritage, all of you would be floored, because I can trace it back to everything. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is why I say I'm a Canadian through and through. That's it. It's just easier to say that than go through everything else that I know. Magic's depth is the strongest feature. In that feature, it lets Magic scale so beautifully into players. Yada, 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 yada. If you guys want to read this, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because this is an article, but there is a new kit demo that is tied with Arena. Exactly, Andreas. It's a nationality, not a race. So, what's wrong with saying I'm Canadian? Teach new players how to play with an Arena Starter Kit demo deck. When a new player is interested in playing Magic, offer to teach them with a Arena Starter Kit. Some regions won't get it based on Arena availability. Their Arena's not available in certain things. The kit has been carefully developed using up-to-date research about the aspects of Magic are most likely to appeal to a new player. So you can appeal to a new player, but you can't fix Standard. Okay, that sounds great. Give me 2 seconds here. I really need to drink. Where the welcome decks focused on simplicity, Arena Starter Kit shows off more of what makes Magic the deepest strategy card game there is. Interesting strategies, synergies, and juicy combos that are satisfying to pull off and start diving, I guess. It just looks weird without the into customizable and complex your decks can be. If someone brought a new player to the store, then they should play against each other with the Arena Starter Kit. Why is it Arena Starter Kit? Our research shows that 81% of engaged players, which is continuing players at the store, makes sense for new players to get started in that way in the store. So number 2 is reward the new player with a welcome booster and their friend with a Bring a Bren promo card. So there was a promo card going around, and they're saying it's supposed to be part of the Lover store return, but it actually said refer a friend thing at the bottom, which was the land out of those 2 cards. So I'm still very confused at it. Once the new player has played their first game with the demo deck, reward them with a welcome booster. So apparently they're still getting these decks, then they get the welcome booster. Inside every welcome booster are 10 cards, including powerful rares, beautiful art, yada, yada, yada. They're actually coming in, like, this is, they're making Niv Mizzet Perun the new Shivan Dragon, which I think is absolutely insane. It's a very hard card to cast, but if this is the type of card that they're trying to show off for new players, and then they're also giving a Garruk Planeswalker, a Command Spear. Ooh, there's the Demon of Loathing. That's something to keep an eye on. Giving the land, I don't think they should have given a land in there because all the stores have land stations, so it's kind of weird to put a land in there unless it's a foil land or something like that. Here are the 10 cards found in every core set 2021 welcome booster. So we got Chandra's Mogda, which I believe is from the new set, Demon of Loathing, Command Spear, Niv Mizzet Perun, Something of Imagination. I'm guessing that's another one that's been out for a while. I don't know what the Garruk one is, and I think that's a Throne of Eldraine Adventure card, I believe, at the very back there, which is very interesting to see. I'm surprised they don't actually give a list. They also include information cards that guide the new player to potential steps on the Magic journey. The 10 cards found in the welcome booster are hand-selected in Magic Design Studio and will be refreshed with each new standard set to keep the cards relevant. So this is a booster that's going to continue to be handed out with each new standard set and updating it. That means if you're going to the store after every set and saying you're a new player, this is a booster that might have something in it that's worth it. The Demon of Loathing in here is actually something that was only in the black specialty packs, so it's nice to see them include these other cards in other products, so you don't have to sit there and try and find them on other stuff. The Arena decks are getting them to play Arena using the LGS. LGS should carry them. Garruk Primal Hunter, it could be. Yeah, it says Hunter at the end there. So yeah, once the new player has played their first game with a demo deck, which I'm presuming they still have the starter decks in store then. This is not going, like, unless a store is setting up a computer to play Arena, this doesn't work. So the demo decks will be in store unless they are scaling back the amount of demo decks. Instead of letting people take them home, they only maybe take home the booster. It's very interesting in that sense. Next, provide the player who brought them a Bring a Friend promo. Since so many engaged players start playing with friends and family, we want to encourage them. Yada, yada, yada. It doesn't really say what the promo is. New guide for the new player through different ways to play and recommended products. So they're telling you pretty much start them with the core set, Planeswalker deck, and the Arena starter kit. Our most successful brand new players. Found the blue card. It's Archetype of Imagination. Nice. Yeah, once they've started their new deck, send them to Arena. Well, I don't get that from that. They're calling it a Magic Arena thing, but are they using Magic Arena as an overall term now instead of just Arena the game? It's kind of strange in that way that they would fragment that word, and I think that's what's going on here. After a new player understands how the game works, give them a walkthrough of different ways to play Magic using the welcome booster for context. So the idea of the welcome booster is to say you can use this for standard, commander, booster draft, and so on. If the player is familiar with Magic, ready for something more competitive, recommend the Challenger decks. So you want to start them Planeswalker decks, move up to the Challenger decks. If the player is more interested in casual or multiplayer, recommend Commander decks. If the player is looking to collect the most beautiful cards, point them towards the Collector's Boosters. So this isn't really... Yeah, you redeem an Arena deck, but it doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say that you're redeeming an Arena deck. In certain regions, they'll also include a code for Magic Arena that redeems for an introductory deck. Oh, interesting. Invite them to an event in-store or digitally. Finally, invite your player back for an appropriate skill events such as F&M, pre-release, yada, yada, yada. If you're limiting or opting out of in-store play, this is an opportunity to introduce new players to your online community. For some reason, start testing new player experience now. So, I more get out of this. If they're in store, they're going to be able to play with the deck. They're going to be able to hold cards and do stuff like that. And then there is literally one line here talking about an introductory deck on Arena, which I believe will be nothing different than what you already can unlock with the game, and this is just a promo to say you can go play Arena. Otherwise, I don't see this as... they're still giving you a demo deck in store, and then they're giving a welcome booster on top of that. So until this rolls out, we don't know if there's going to be new starter decks in store, which is a program that has worked for years, and I don't think they should ever take that away. There is the Arena, the new starter deck, the starter kit, and I don't know if that's what they're talking to with the Arena kit, Arena starter kit demo deck. So I don't know. Until we see this product, we won't really know. Yeah, Arena starter kits have carefully developed using up-to-date research about the aspects. Yeah, really it just says Arena starter kits, which I'm guessing is still a paper product, not a Arena product. I think that's where the problem is with this. Yeah, it's too bad we had to cancel this week, Grim. Like I said, I don't know until I could see this product. I don't actually know what it is. They have to buy them now. They're no longer free from Wizards of the Coast. That's interesting. Thought research. If they're researching this type of thing, I think they can do a better job of standard. It's absolutely crazy where this is going. Okay, so that's what I had to cover today for This Week in Magic. I wanted to get the spoilers out of the way at the beginning, talk about the bannings because it was absolutely crazy. £5 each or €5 each for that set. That's a little bit much. And you're supposed to give them away for free. That's not cool. I went to an auction years ago where it was a bunch of Magic the Gathering stuff being auctioned off. And in that, they had a box of starter decks. And someone ended up buying the entire starter deck system for $250 a deck. Like, these were the decks that were free to give out. And they bought the entire thing for $250 a deck. $250 per item. And I went, what are you doing? That's insane. This was supposed to be a free thing, and it went to an auction. And when a store closes and it goes to auctions, it's a little bit different in that sense. They sell off anything they see. But that's absolutely crazy when I saw that. So them charging $5 for this new set, that's a little bit much. $2.50, not $250. Even at $2.50, it was absolutely crazy. Because there's if you look at it from a value aspect, there's no value in them. If you look at it as a teaching tool, you have all the value in the world, but it's supposed to be to get your toes wet and to get you in the door. It's not, yeah. Well, I did that under an hour. I think that's a great point for me to end the stream. That way it can stay live and people can watch it and get my thoughts on what's going on with the bannings. It's absolutely crazy. Wizards of the Coast hates stores so much now. It's a very complicated situation with the way they deal with stores. The WPN having to be around it, it's really difficult to sit there and follow all the WPN rules for all the extra things, and then all those extra things really amount to nothing for the extra stuff that you have to put into your store. So the balance is not there. I know they were doing grants there a while back, and unless the store has an online presence, they don't do very well right now. So it's very interesting in that sense. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me today. We will see you guys later tonight for Friday Night Magic, and we will continue going with that. I know the Momir event is live, and I think the Cube event is live as well. I haven't logged into Arena today, so that might be things that we look at doing tonight. Until then, have yourselves a great day.